Hello guys, today I'm interviewing Mick Kirk. He's trainer of Owen Kirk. And yeah, how are you?
I'm very well, Sam. How are you?
I'm good, mate.
Good.
My first question is, how did like did were you a boxer?
I did a bit when I was younger, Sam. Yeah, too old for it now. I boxed probably in my really late teens into my early 20s. Just white collar stuff. I had 10 bouts. And then a few years after that, I did a few without the gloves as well, which wasn't pleasant, but yeah. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
had 10 white collar fights sort of in my early 20s.
But
And then
did you want to go like pro?
um, I didn't really know. I boxed a bit with the amateurs in the gyms, but I'll be honest with you, Sam. I only stopped boxing really. I got sick of getting punched in the face, and then when I was about probably 25 years ago now, maybe somebody said to me I was just doing some pad work with some young kids in the gym, and they said, why don't you look at progressing through coaching? And I looked into it, and then I started coaching, and then yeah, I did that for probably the next 15 years, and then I had about a 5 year spell out of it, and then coming back to Owen when he turned 11, which is what is he now, 20, 23 now, 24 in January. So when he was 11, he came to me and said, Dad, I want to box. And I did everything I could to try and talk him out of it, Sam, just because of the nature of the sport and whatnot. And he just was like a dog with a bone. No, Dad, I want to box. I want to try it. I want to try it. So I said, right, if we're doing it properly. And then yeah, he started at 11, and as I say, he's 24 now, and he's just not stopped. He's not stopped.
And he's doing very well. I know he was meant to fight this weekend, but something's happened. I don't know what's happened. I'm sure you know, but he's not fighting in the
That's
tournament. I think Jake Bray is the replacement, and he's fighting Johnny Kiley.
He is, yeah.
Will
Funny
you
enough, I sent them both a message today, actually, wishing them well. Yeah, but both really good lads. I really like John and Johnny and Jake. Yeah, good lads. Be a good fight as well, I think.
but maybe Owen um Owen should still be in this title picture next year and these 50-50 fights that Owen like wants.
Yeah, well, obviously we'll have to speak to his manager Steve about that, but he's. I mean, I can give you some background. So essentially, you probably, I mean, you clearly follow his career, but he's literally fought back to back in 12 months. He's had 5 fights in 12 months.
Yeah,
And this year, particularly this year, the 3 fights he's had back to back, he's been out of one into another, out of one into another, out of one into another.
he's
And,
been
and as we
busy.
know, he's been really busy. And on top of that, outside of the ring, he's had an awful lot going on. And he rang me, and I'm sure he won't mind me talking about. I won't give too much detail because it's his story really. But
Yeah,
yeah, he rang me one night. So we'd gone for the draw at the VIP gym in Manchester.
yeah, I
Which,
seen that.
yeah, we drew Johnny Boy Kylie. Um, and it was a few days later he rang, and obviously, as you know, he literally came off the fight with Jake Bray for the rematch in Doncaster. I think we had the draw something like 4 or 5 days later, so he was still bashed up from that. And he rang me the following weekend, and he just said, "Look, I've been giving some thought to this fight, and we're always of the opinion you stay fight fit, right? At this level, because 5 fights a year is a lot, right? I know the journeymen are out week after week after week, but prospects it's different. It's a hard camp,
They have to
right?
sell tickets as well.
Exactly. Yeah, they've got all that pressure and stuff, which is is touch wood. Owen's always done really well with his ticket sales.
Yeah,
And it was just simply a case of he'd got so much weight to lose, because even in a week, Owen packs weight on really quickly after a fight, and especially if we have a day before weighing, he'll fuel up, so he can put 6 or 7 pounds on in a couple of days quite easily. Getting rid of it's harder. Yeah, so he just said, look, I've been giving some thought. He said, I know we're always saying we're fight fit, and I said, well, what do you want to do? And he said, I think I should pull out. And I said, well, I think it's probably, my opinion at the time was, I think it's probably the right decision because, you know, to be fight fit, if you're not fight fit in there, there's no point.
Yeah,
There's no point.
and he would have lost if he's not 100% focused.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, and I think from when we had the draw to this coming the weekend for fight night, I think it was something like pretty much exactly 4 weeks, which, you know, we had to get additional sparring booked in. We've got to, you know, we've got another coach on board now as well, who was
What's his name?
Bob Howard. Yeah, so we got
Yeah.
Bob on board earlier this year. I think he joined us in February. I think it was February or March. If I know, about April actually. Sorry, April. Yeah, not long after the first Jake Bray fight. So it just you know, for him to make that decision was the right move. Really, it's a shame he's not in the tournament. You know, because Owen and Johnny Boy have sparred before, and
Do you still think that Owen will be keeping an eye on the tournament still?
oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, well, at the end of the day, you know, he's a home fighter with the other guys. You know, and you know, we really like Johnny Boy a lot, and you know, and Casey and Reese as well. They're all fabulous lads.
Should be
And
a good tournament.
oh, it's fantastic. It's just a shame, you know, given the decision Owens had to make. It's a shame he's not in it really, but you know, there'll be other opportunities.
Do you think he'll be out early next year, like February?
Yeah, definitely. He's already started back a little bit of light training now.
That's good.
Take him up to Christmas. So he's out again now, just doing just a few light bits, and then
you know when he lost to Jake Bray, I thought he did enough.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because on the night, I mean, taking nothing whatsoever away from Jake, right? A win is a win, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's controversial or not, you can't target the fighter for that decision, right? Because all he's done is turn up to fight his opponent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, however, this is the first time I've had a chance to speak about it publicly. So I was in his corner, and he'd gone out first bell, and just settling in, and you know, we'd watched and studied Jake, and you know, Jake. I've spoken to Jake quite a lot, and you know, his own admission, when he steps in the ring, he takes everything with him and leaves everything in the ring, and he does, right. He leaves absolutely nothing brings nothing out of that ring with him. But on that night of the fight in Blackpool, Owen had gone out and he got just settled in. He found his range in the first sort of 20, 30 seconds, and he was throwing. And then they got into quite a fast exchange, because that's kind of Jake's style. He's out and he wants to fight. And it was almost immediately after that, I spotted something in Owen. Of course, the crowd are going nuts, and it was a home fight, and they were wanting, you know, it was looking like it was going to be quite an explosive match. And I turned to George, who was our cornerman with us at the time in Blackpool, and I just said, George, something's wrong. And he said, no, he's all right. He's just settling in. I said, I'm telling you, something is not right with him. He's too hesitant, right? I mean, you've probably seen him. He's quite a tactical fighter. Obviously the last fight he got drawn into a real war with Jake Bray, but normally he's a tall and long range fighter.
It looked like Owen was trying to fight Jake's fight last time.
Yeah, he was.
I thought he did a good job of it, personally.
Yeah. Well, it will come onto his rematch, because it was, that was a great experience. But coming back to his first fight, the rest, we had another 2.5 minutes of this round, and I was kind of getting frustrated, because without giving too much away, you know, I always try and get him to ensure he focuses on winning those first 2 rounds in a 4 or a 6 rounder. Get those first 2 rounds under your belt, and then we'll start to see how it plays out. And he came in, but the bell had gone. I jumped through the ropes. He came in, and he just looked at me, and I could just tell in his eyes before he even said anything. He just, I won't say exactly what he said. He went, "Dad, my hand's broken."
Oh.
And it was his right hand. And I said I knew something was wrong. So I sat him down, and I I said, how much pain are you in? He said, it's unbelievable. Now he's broken his hand before, and it didn't heal very well. This was a few years ago.
So why did you not pull him out if his hand was broke?
Well, this is it. I said we didn't know if it was a break. He was just surmising it was a break, and I just said, look, Owen, we've got 3 more rounds to go. I said, it's a hidden injury. I need you to tell me and be honest with me. Can you carry on or not? Because if you can't, I'm going to have to stop the fight. And he just looked me in the eye. He said, please don't stop this fight. He said, just let me go out. And I said, if you can't throw your right hand in the first round, you're not going to be able to throw it in the second. You're not going to be able to throw it in the third. You're not going to be able to throw it in the fourth.
So how did he break it? Did he?
Well, it turns out it wasn't a break. He snapped through his, what they call the ulnar ligament in the thumb. So he'd gone to throw a backhand. And as Jake had come in, his thumb had kind of snagged on his forehead and pushed his thumb back and snapped the ligament.
Oh.
So you can imagine the pain he was in.
He still did very well to finish the fight, and it could have gone either way.
Well, the thing is, if you look at the fight closely, I watched it. I watched it back 3 or 4 times with commentary and without commentary, and it's funny. Even after the fight, so there was the 2 commentators that were on the fight were convinced Owen had done enough to win. Jake's corner at the time in the ring said to us, "You've got this. 3 rounds to 1." So,
but did they think they had the first round then, as Owen couldn't throw his backhand?
I think so. Yeah, because after that, all Owen could do was get in close, use his jab and his hook, and just, if you watch the fight, Owen's defense work, even with a busted hand, was just brilliant. Jake was throwing some big hooks, and Owen was rolling and taking the sting out of his shots. He was defending really well, considering. But it was just one of those, at the end of the day. So you can imagine what that did to him after the fight. It was just, as any fighter, loss is horrible to deal with, but just one of them things, really.
He was meant to, when he fought Josh Cook, he was telling me he was originally meant to fight Jake.
That was his. What on the Blackpool fight, you mean?
No, when he fought Josh Cook, he thought he was fighting Jake before. That's what he was telling me.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah. So that's right. Yeah. So the rematch was booked in and meant to happen, and then Jake had sent message back that we're going to have to do it another time, because I think he'd made a commitment. So I think Josh Cook stepped in for the 4th fight as a last minute. Yeah.
I wouldn't box Josh Cook, because Josh Cook's, no offense to him, he's pretty defensive, isn't he?
Yeah.
More defensive. So
yeah. Well, I think if I remember rightly, I think Owen was meant to fight Josh Cook on his second professional fight, and that didn't happen for some reason. And then a really experienced
Danny Little
stepped in, yeah. And for me, even now, from boxing ability and technicality, that for me was Owen's best performance to date against Danny Little, because he just boxed and won all 4 rounds quite easily.
Yeah, that's good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good to watch. Yeah, he trained well for that fight as well. Yeah, he was just focused. His mind was in the right place. He'd been eating properly.
Who do you think is going to win the tournament, or do you not want to say?
I'm happy to say, I've got no problems in saying, because people close to me know I'm a straight talker. I think based on what I've seen, and I've seen closely Owen spar Johnny Boy, I've seen him spar Casey.
Has he sparred Reese?
No, we've not had the opportunity to spar Reese yet. But based on that, and based on the people I've seen, all of them fight so far.
Yeah.
Just based on that, I think Casey out of the 3 that are in there now is probably technically the better fighter. I think in terms of heart, stamina, and grit and will to win is Johnny Boy, without a shadow of a doubt. And he's got a great coach in Ian as well.
Do you think Jake Bray could win it, cause the upset?
Well, this I was just about to come on to Jake. Yeah, I mean, let's not discredit Reese. Let's not discredit Reese either. Reese.
Oh yeah,
Reese.
Yeah, Reese, even though Reese is coming off a defeat, he just got caught with a shot. I haven't seen the fight, unfortunately, but me and Owen were ringside for that. Did he?
Yeah, me and Owen were ringside for that fight because we had a few of other friends.
Was he doing well before he got stopped?
To be fair to him, yeah, he was boxing nice and long early on. But when that big right hand came over from the opponent, you just knew if that lands and that lands clean, that's going to cause some damage. And I think he caught him first off, and that kind of, you could see Reese kind of then thought, I need to just be a bit more cautious now, because it was a big old punch, and fair play to Reese for taking that one. I mean, it was a clean shot, it really was.
Yeah.
And then you could just see that his opponent was just looking for that. It wasn't there to box. He just wanted that big shot. You could clearly see
he wanted that knockout.
Yeah, 100%. You could see he was there for that, and he got it, which was a shame. It's never nice to see. It's never nice to see your home fighters really, from the same stable getting sort of laid out like that. But is what it is. Reese sort of cracked on, shook it off. We caught up with him at the draw for the tournament.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So
yeah,
good attitude to have, I think.
So, what two people do you think will be in the final?
You're pushing it, Sam. I think. I think out of the Casey and Reese fight, I think Casey might just get that win
on like points, or do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those. It's because, as you said, Reese has come off the back of a pretty brutal loss, which is always plays on your mind, definitely, when you're going into your next fight. But he's got a really, really positive mindset, and
he's the southpaw. He's a southpaw.
Awkward, yeah, absolutely. So anything can happen, but we'll see. Casey's no fool, Reese is no fool, but you've got to start looking at the experience element as well. Okay.
Was Casey more experienced, like in the amateurs?
I think in the amateurs, but I'm talking about since they all turned over professional. So from an experience,
Casey's had a six rounder.
Yeah, but what I was about to say was Reese has suffered quite a brutal knockout. Casey hasn't. So Reese will be prepared and focused, and probably be more alert for them kind of shots, I think, now. So it'd be a great fight. And then in the other one with Johnny and Jake,
that's a rematch.
Yeah.
They fought each other on their debuts.
Yeah, I think this might even be Jake's third rematch.
It is.
He's had 3 rematches, yeah. So, but that'll be a great fight. But
they're 6 rounds, yeah.
Yeah, I believe the semis are 6 rounds, and then the final will be an 8-rounder. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a good tournament. So, are you going to be backing Johnny to beat Jake, or are you going to say Jake to go to fight Casey in the final?
Well, I'm going to be honest, because as I said, I'm straight talker, Sam. Both guys are great. I've got a lot of respect for both of them. I speak on and off with Johnny, but obviously the whole rematch thing where we did with Jake. But for me, I've got to back a stablemate, and I've got to back Johnny.
Yeah, so Johnny v Casey, but don't count Reese or Jake out.
No, don't listen. It's boxing. It's an extra 2 rounds on what they've all done, apart from Jake, obviously. And if no,
Jake's done. I don't think that Johnny Kylie's done a 6-rounder.
No, this would be his first, I think.
But Reese was scheduled to fight 6 rounds.
In his last one, yeah, but I think because he was the float fight,
Yeah, he
I
was
think
right
they
in the
reduced
end.
it.
So I
I
wanted
think they
to
dropped
watch
it.
his fight, but
Yeah,
if you watch my interview with him, like about this up and coming tournament, I don't know, he said he was going to get ready at 7:20 for a fight, and
that's right.
then
Yeah,
9 or something, and then
it was a long night. It was. It was.
yes,
I mean, we were
I
there from
feel
the
sorry
start.
for him in a bit, but at least he fought, even though he got the loss, he's back in these 50-50s. He didn't, none of these guys needed to, even Owen, before
No,
he pulled out, they don't need to take these fights this early in their career, but fair play for all of them for like taking the opportunity. And yeah, it moves them up the ranks quicker, doesn't it, really?
yeah, of course it does. Yeah, yeah, because you're fighting prospects now. And it's like I can't speak for the rest of them, but Owen has been chomping at the bit with me for some time. That once we'd done the rematch with Jake.
Surely Owen's got to have a trilogy fight with Jake Bray because
They've
he's
talked
got to
about
get
it.
this win. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Because the last fight I thought, no offense, I thought Jake Bray won the first round,
Mm.
and
So
I
I
think no,
scored that.
Jake had the first two. Sorry, and then Owen had the last four.
Yeah, that's I had Jake down for winning the first two. I had Owen down 3, 4, and 5, and round 6 for me was it was bordering on a 50-50, but I thought Owen did enough. I thought he emptied the tank enough in the last round. But the problem is, and this might sound controversial or whatever, but like I said, you'll get from me brutal honesty, Sam. The home fighter in a very close contest you'll generally find the bias is toward the home fighter.
Because it was
But,
in Doncaster.
oh, what a great venue! Honestly, that was such a great show as well. It really
Yeah,
was.
and it
Yeah,
was streamed, so that's even better.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
Steve's got to stream his shows because he puts on some great shows.
yeah. Well, that was a joint one with Jimmy Harrington, who's Jake's coach.
Does
They've done
he
a few
train
fights.
someone else? Because I've seen him in quite a few fighters' corners.
Jimmy, yeah, he's got a stable of his own fighters. Yeah, yeah,
Do you
yeah.
have any other fighting
Not
fighters?
at the moment. No, not at the moment, Sam.
But
We've
will
got,
you maybe soon?
yeah, I can't give too much away at the moment, but
Because you're just trying to work things out with them.
there's that, but there's quite a few changes going to happen next year for me and Owen for the better, which I can't really elaborate too much on because we're still in discussions around.
Maybe when you agree, you can like let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's just say it's gonna put Owen. It's all to benefit Owen as well. We're gonna.
Well, that's the main focus is you trying to help Owen do what he
Yeah,
does best. And
exactly. Yeah,
you've been in his corner for all of his fights so far, have you?
I have. I wasn't around when he fought Josh Cook. That was the only one I wasn't able to make.
Oh,
uh,
okay. So,
which was
so should we talk about the rematch quickly?
yes. So I want to do that because, as I say, most of the coaches don't get the opportunity to speak about the fighters. It's because it's obviously it's about the fighter at the end of the day. But yeah, the rematch, there seemed to be, so you could just coming back off the loss, the injury, which Owen didn't make any excuses about the injury because he fought on. Okay, if we'd have pulled him out in round 1, then he might have looked at using that as an excuse, but he didn't. He went on and fought on, and as everybody thought, apart from the referee, thought Owen had just done enough to win that. But it wasn't to
Even
be.
with a busted hand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing with Owen. He's a ranged fighter, but he'll get in and he will fight when he's and I'll come on to the rematch now, and I think so. Leading up to it, there was a little bit of online sort of bickering going on, which was not. It wasn't. None of it was ever personal, right? And it obviously generated a bit of a buzz around the two lads and the fight and whatnot.
I mean, that was probably I was very excited for that fight, and it lived up to the hype.
Exactly. Well, that was the whole purpose behind the online stuff from Owen at the end of the day, because
You've
he
got to sell the fight.
well, you've got to sell the fight. I mean, the good thing for Owen on that rematch was, because he was hell bent, he just wanted to just have the rematch after what happened in Blackpool. He didn't have to sell any tickets, so it's his first away fight, his first away corner,
Wait, so
first
he
six
had
rounder,
no fans there?
none, none.
Oh, I
Um,
thought he had a few.
no, no, no. Well, we're talking probably half a dozen, and it was.
Does he
But
normally sell quite? Because he was telling me he's good with the tickets.
very good, yeah, yeah. He's got a good following, and it's getting stronger and bigger. Yeah, he does all right with his ticket sales.
And
He does.
Jake Bray had quite a few people there.
Well, I was just about to come on to it. He,
Will the rematch be in it, like not in anyone's hometown?
I don't know. I don't know
I mean,
yet.
like the trilogy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're gonna get a few more fights first, and then he might
Yeah,
look at, obviously, because he's only 5 fights into his career, and 2 of them were against Jake. So there's
he
no
wants
rush.
to try and pick up more wins, and
Yeah,
maybe
just have a few more
next
fights
year.
and
Yeah,
get focused
because
for next year. Yeah,
maybe he might fight for like an area title next year if that's what he wants to do. But he's just focused on his next fight
that's it. That's
and
all we do.
training.
That's all we do. The minute Steve announces his opponent and his fight, that's all the focus is. We don't look at anything past that. We don't
Yeah,
look at anything that we've done previously. That is the focus. And then whoever it is, we just study them and study them and study them, and then we adapt his training to suit.
yeah. And before I let you go, who?
Yep.
Because you still haven't answered the question. Who's winning it, Casey or Johnny?
If I was a gambling man, it's a tough one.
It
If I was a
is hard.
if I was a gambling man,
Johnny, maybe.
8 rounds. I
Wait,
think. I
eight
think
rounds.
the finals an 8 rounder. Yeah. So this is what I'm trying
You
to
know
think.
the people who are like the people who lose the semis, they
Yeah.
fight as well apparently
Yeah. Yeah. For
in a
that
six
third place
rounder.
spot. Yeah.
That'd
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great tournament, and it's for Steve to
I
suggest it.
really want him to stream it this weekend.
Yeah. I don't know what the involvement is there, or who does that, or how it
Well,
happens.
we'll
So
see.
yeah. But coming back to the question,
Yeah,
if I was a gambling man, I'm gonna have to go with Johnny.
on
Yeah.
points.
I don't know. I don't know. It's an
Yeah,
8 round. So it's only 2 rounds, but when you've slogged your guts out for 4 rounds, a six
yeah.
rounder is hard. When you've slogged yourself out for 6 rounds, get into that 8 rounder, and you're trading leather at the pace these boys do. It could end up with a lottery punch finish. Could end up going on points. It could be close. I don't know, but I don't know. I just think John
Johnny
of all of them,
Just.
I think of all of them, Johnny to me just seems much more
So you thought
composed
that Owen had the hardest draw he could have got?
against Jake.
No, when he fought, because
Oh,
Owen was meant to fight Johnny. That's what I mean. So you thought
oh, sorry,
Owen
the
had
the
the
tournament
hardest
draw.
opponent.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they're all hard, but
They're all. Listen, this is what I'm saying. They're all good lads, and Steve knows they're good lads, which is why I think he's
is Steve
suggested this tournament.
Jake's promoter as well?
Um, no, I think he sits with Jimmy. Does Jake?
Yeah,
I don't
but
know what.
Reese Woods and Casey are with Steve as well, I think,
Correct. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Johnny.
Yeah. And Owen. The 4 of them are with Steve. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah.
yeah. Thank you for your time, mate. And enjoy the
Pleasure.
rest of your day.
I will. Thanks, Sam.
Bye,
Keep doing what
mate.
you're doing. Take it
Bye.
easy. Bye now.